Hello, my name is Cheryl Wilson, and if you've returned to my channel, thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for coming back and supporting me, and I hope you do a thumbs up to let me know you were here. And if you're new, I do abstract art, and I show paintings from beginning to end. I show techniques, and then I do demonstrations of my paintings for online galleries, so you'll see a couple things out there. I wanted to talk to you today about a painting style. One, it was to answer the question from one of the comments about veiling. I'm going to go into more detail about veiling and what I mean and how I do veiling in my paintings. And two, I wanted to take this opportunity to paint this painting to show you a technique that I think it would be easy for you to emulate in your paintings that talks about doing an underpainting and quieting it down and taking it to a finished painting. So I hope you enjoy this video. I hope it's something you can use, and again, give me a thumbs up to let me know you're here, and if you have any comments, I'd love to hear them. And let's just get started on this painting. So what I'm going to be doing is, and I've popped the painting in the shot here. It's a 24 by 18. And I wanted to start with a background, an underpainting for you to show you that this is a technique that you can do in your abstracts. That is a great way to start your abstracts, especially if you're not quite sure how to start an abstract, or you're new at doing abstracts. Now the background or the underpainting, it's not just one color. It's I chose a darker color for this, but it's several. You know, you can lighten it up, you can make it tonal, like different tones with a baby wipe. I use a piece of paper towel. You can use your fingers, but your background, your underpainting is going to be well, in this particular demonstration I'm going to show you is just it's you want it interesting, you want it something that the eye enjoys looking at, but you don't want it to be like really bold, at least in this particular style. So you'll see me just cover the painting or the piece of paper. It's a watercolor paper, 140 pound, and I just cover it with a blend. Now, as I go through this, if I don't mention this, I don't go a lot into describing which exact color I use, because I feel that is something that you as an artist, you're going to have your particular paints. What I will tell you is I use an awful lot of golden, the high flow and the liquids. And then I add on the top many times thicker paints with a brush or my finger or a palette knife. But you'll see me just wiping through here just to get the different tones, because this is what I want this particular painting. I want it to be just I don't want it one solid color. It just gives it more interest to look at. So as I finish this up, you know, it'll dry a little bit darker. Of course, this is when it's wet, and it always dries. Sometimes it seems like maybe 30% darker, or maybe 20% darker. But this is just the first layer, and you can see it's just got different stripe through with my that's just a paper towel, wet paper, or not even wet, just a regular paper towel here. So this is the time on this layer, you are going to just play. And I always like to do some sgraffito. I write backwards. I'm using a high flow Golden's titanium white with a thin brush, and I'm just writing through here. Some of it shows at the end, some doesn't. I don't at this point worry too much about my composition. What I do like to do though is mix my paints, and you'll see it, off to this. You won't see it to the side, but if I use a gray or a blue or a yellow or even a magenta, I will mix those with the other colors so they all have the same kind of tonal qualities. The only time I might use a pure color is at the very end, where I'm going to add like a pop, because it's the purest form in the bottle. But they don't always go together when they're straight out of the bottle. But if you mix each one of them, like say that magenta, that's a quinacridone magenta, and I mix that, look, you see I mix that with the titanium white. But if I mix that with a little bit of yellow, or I mix that with some of that blue, it will go together on the painting better than it would if I were just to pull it straight out of the bottle. Now, you can definitely do that on this layer, because this layer is just kind of a play. So I'm just adding color and paint and enjoying myself, taking a pencil, scraping through. I'm not thinking too much other than just enjoying myself on this particular layer, because you want to be free. One of the things I always tend to do is, you notice a lot of my shapes are the same shapes. I'll need to change that at some point. And that's one thing you'll find yourself repeating in your paintings, is some of the same things you do over and over again. But my shapes need to be different sizes, because even if I were to have left this painting at this point, if I had those shapes all different sizes, some bigger, some smaller, it would have looked better. So I've taken another color there, probably some of that aqua, but I've mixed it with the pink. So it has toned it down, and we're still looking at a lot of the tones the same here. And again, if you were to leave your painting with all these same tones here, or values, where nothing pops out, they're all the same level of value, it's not going to be interesting to the eye. So even adding those black marks it's popping the painting a little bit, because it's a darker value than some of the others. And I just threw some white up there. I like to do drips, and I like to spray on my paintings. So a lot of times I'll just put that titanium white and spray. Whether they stay in the painting later on, it's a lot of times they don't. But at this point, I'm just adding a layer of shapes and interesting marks, and seeing where the painting is going to take me. And a lot of times the painting talks to you along the way, and it will, you'll start to like, it's like this craving, like I crave this, or I crave that. And when you do that, it's your mind, you're like almost your rote memory of other paintings that you've done that took you somewhere, and that mark is something that you might like. So I'm kind of going with the circles. I love circles and spirals, so I'm kind of just going with it a little bit more. And I still am looking to, I need some pops of color in here. So at some point you'll see me add the stark black. But I'm just enjoying. So I'm going to just let you watch me add layers here and marks, and I will pop in a little bit and talk a little bit more. So I've let this painting dry, and I'm taking a look at it, and I'm thinking, okay, I have several focal points going here, and I want to knock back or veil, cover up something. So I'm turning the painting around, trying to see which area I might want to keep. And even though you have color underneath the area that you're going to veil or knock back or whatever wording you want to use, some of that is still going to come through in the final painting. But I want, in my opinion, when I'm looking at my painting and I have too much going on, the eye is a little chaotic. Some paintings, you know, it works. But in this particular painting, my purpose was to show you or talk about veiling. So I'm veiling, covering up some of the area. Some of it's going to peek through. And I'm just using that same gray tone that will darken up a little bit. And I'm just going through and marking through some areas. And some of it will still peek through. And you can do scrapes and scratches at this point. But my point is I want to have a focal area that stands out, and I wanted to knock back some of the other area. So that was my thought pattern here, and I still wanted that black area. I love black against this gray. The juxtaposition of the two colors was really talking to me in this particular painting. So I'm going to add some more black in that one area there shortly. But I'm looking through the painting. I'm trying to decide, what do I need? What more do I want? What do I want less? What do I want more of? That is a pencil scraping through, and I love graphite and pencil marks through it. And that will scrape down through to bring. Now, if this were a totally black painting, some of those marks would be beautiful because some of the color underneath would come through. But some of the color underneath will be talking in the painting because they'll come through. So I'm adding more black, and the reason why I did the pencil there is I felt that it needed a difference between the thick black and I needed some thin black lines. So I'm still working. Some of the paint is wet that I'm rubbing in, killing some of that perfect circle almost up there. So I'm still looking, and I always resort to my fingers. I think my fingers are my best paint brushes. So I'm looking to see, I thought, okay, the eye is going right to that big black messy painted area, and I want the eye to also slightly float to the different areas. So it's going to look at that circle up there on the right because it has black in it. There I'm adding a little bit more of a structure black, so there's a good balance between the thin black and the thicker black. And I'm looking at the top left, and I have that single black, which is great. I could leave that. But I love black marks in the set of threes. That's one of the things on my things I love. And I've talked about that in other paintings where I have a list of things I love to put in paintings. And the 3 black marks or shapes or finger marks is something I really enjoy. So I'm going to dry this and take a look at it, and we'll see where the painting talks to me and what I want to do next. So I got out some of the hair drying because I really dried it so I could use this. And I know some of you are going to ask me, this is just a white charcoal pencil. And I have it in my Amazon store. The link is below. I love charcoal, both black and white, all different colors, but you really have to wait till the painting dries. I mean, you can make marks in it, but to use this white charcoal to really make it stand out, you really have to have it, the painting dry. I've mentioned this in other videos, but you'll see me rubbing on the charcoal when I put it down. And the reason for that is I like for the eye to not know what was put first. So either I'll add paint over top of the lines I've made, or I will rub some of them out. There you see me doing the black 3 lines up there. I just, something told me that's what the painting needed. So here it is. I hope that you learned something from this painting. So I wanted to put these side by side so you can see what I did when I went in and I knocked an area back. Did I need to do that? No. The painting on the left, if that is where you want to leave your painting and you love that, that's where you leave your painting. You'll know. For me, I wanted to have more of a focal point at the bottom. I wanted to veil or hide some of the top. I wanted to make the quiet area of the painting less of a big statement and have a big statement on the right hand side. That's my preference. So I hope that this was helpful to you, and that you'll try this technique if you're a new painter, or if you've never veiled, or you've never taken a look at your painting to see where there's chaotic and just have one focal point. Give that a try. But I just want to thank you again for joining me here, and I've just enjoyed spending some time with you, and I had a rough day, actually a rough week, health-wise, but everything's good. So it was nice just to end my week with you all.